settle yourself into a comfortable position. So right now that can be anywhere that feels good. You can stay seated, you can lay down. There's a couple of you that popped in there without me noticing. So hi. So just find a place of stillness for this moment. And take long breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Feel the softness traveling all the way down the back of your neck, across your shoulders, down your spine, down into your pelvis, finding ease, space. Try and expand your lungs as wide as possible. Allowing your inhalation to spread right into the front of your chest, right into the back of the rib cage, the sides of the rib cage. When we practice this big, expansive breath, it helps our breathing to improve, like overall in general, helps our lung capacity to increase. Just generally makes us feel a little bit better. So just imagine you see a square behind your closed eyes. Along the top edge of the square, you're going to breathe in. So breathe in for a count of 4. When you get to the corner, you go down. Hold your breath for a count of 4. When you get to the bottom, you breathe out for a count of 4 as you go across. Then when you hit the corner again and go up, you hold your breath. So this is square breathing. Breathing in for 4 as you go across the top. Holding the breath for 4 as you go down the side. As you come across the bottom, breathe out for a count of 4. When you get to the corner, hold your breath for 4 on the way back up. Breathing in for 4. Hold the breath for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold your breath for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold the breath for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold the breath for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold the breath for 4. One more round. Breathe in for 4. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. Now just allow your breathing to relax to its natural state, its natural rhythm. And just notice the energy that that's created inside of you. Make a few gentle movements. And then you're going to lay down onto your back and draw the knees in towards your chest. Give them a little squeeze, maybe a little rock from side to side. And then place your hands gently above your knees or on the knees. And then push the legs away from you. Circle them round to the outside, draw them in back to the chest until the legs come together. Gently pushing out, circling round and in. One more, so it's 4 in total. And then change direction. Pull the knees in, circle round until they come together again. So the whole point of this is to loosen up the hips and just feel the movement of where the femur is in the hip socket. Once you've done 5, place your feet together, drop them down onto the floor, legs stay together, arms spread wide. Now here you're just going to roll your hips side to side. As you go towards one direction, the feet stay together, but the soles of the feet lift off the floor. This is going to make sure that your hips stay anchored and glued together, and the rotation then comes from your spine. Just keep the shoulders down as well, so you can reduce the range of movement if you need to. And once you've done both sides equally, you can stay like this if you wish, or lift the feet off the floor and add a little bit of loading to the abdominals. Pull the belly in. So here, this loosens off around where the sciatic nerve endings begin in your back. It can help relieve any tension through the lower back as well. Once you've done both sides equally, place the feet flat to the floor again. And then this time take hold of the hands, palms together, squeezing like the heel of the hand together. And then you're just going to roll your shoulders, this time side to side, keeping the legs still, keeping the arms straight as well. So if you find that when you go to one side you're bending the elbows, you need to reduce your range of motion until you're keeping your arms straight. What this does then is immobilizes the upper part of the rib cage a little bit more. And the range may be a little bit yes, that's fine. It just gets better and better the more you do. Come back into the center, you've done both sides equally. Draw the knees in towards the chest. And then place one foot to the floor, lift the other leg upwards. You're going to hold gently onto the back of your thigh. Now here, we're just going to straighten the leg and then bend the knee again. At the top, flex the foot, point the toe, bend the knee. So it doesn't matter how close your leg is to you. What matters is that you straighten behind the knee on this. So this just loosens off your hamstrings, mobilizes them, mobilizes your calves. If you want a little extra stretch in your hamstring, feel free to bring the leg a little bit closer to you, to your torso. But just make sure you're still straightening behind the back of the knee so you get that full range of mobility. Swap the legs round. And reaching out of the whole of the foot as the leg lifts. And just be mindful as well that you don't push through any pain as such. You want to feel a stretch through the back of the leg, but never any pain. If you do feel pain, then you need to back off. And that goes for anything really. Let's do one more. Hug the knees into the chest. Gently rock yourself up. And then make your way into child's pose towards the back of your mat. Take the knees as wide as is comfortable, feet together, stretch the arms out fully along the ground. And I'm going to walk the hands onto the diagonal. So let's go to the right side first. Make sure both hands are still shoulder width apart. Your hips are still in the same place. That way you feel the length and the reach from your lower back, your QL, on the left side all the way up to the armpit. So this is a diagonal cat-cow child's pose. So inhaling, keeping the knees and shins where they are, but the body on the diagonal. Open the chest, pull the shoulder blades back. Exhaling into a slightly diagonal downward cat, back into child's pose. So inhaling, come up. Exhale, press back and round the spine. It's almost like a little circular motion. You're coming forwards on the diagonal and then pressing round. So you really get into any tight areas of your back. One more. And walk the hands over to the left side of your mat. Slide the tailbone back. Inhaling, come through the arms. Pull the shoulder blades back. Exhale. Inhale. So this really helps if you've got tight lats as well, especially here as we come into downward cat and round down. And also if you've got a really tight QL, which is around the side of the lower back. One more. And then walking the hands back to the centre of the mat. Inhale, come up onto all fours, and a couple of rounds of normal cat-cow. Upward cat, downward cat. Inhaling, open, exhale, round. And if you want to have a little dancing cat, then feel free to have a little dance around and then just enjoy that freedom in the spine, in the body. Shaking the tail, shaking the shoulders. Child's pose again. Reach the arms forwards. Striking cobra. So eye gaze to the fingertips. Slide the chest through the hands, and then you can either stay low here in cobra, opening the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades, or lifting to upward dog, back into child's pose. Again, breathing in as you come through, squeezing the butt here gently, exhale back into child's pose. One more like this, allowing the spine to feel fluid and free. Nicely done. Just make sure you keep drawing the shoulders down. One more, but this time we're going to lift into upward dog, lifting the belly to lift the hips. Screw the hands into the floor. And then here, just pedal the feet up and down. Focusing on finding that length in your calves. One knee bends as the other leg straightens. Inhale, come to plank. Either stay on the toes or drop to the knees. Exhale, pull the rib cage wide as you lower down and slide the shoulders forwards. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Lift your right leg up as high as you can for three-legged dog. Focus on keeping your hips square to the floor. Feeling the length in the standing leg. Step the foot between the hands to lunge. Help it forwards if it doesn't quite get there. Just take a deep breath in, pushing out the back heel to find more length in the leg. And we're going to slide the left knee next to the toes of the right foot. Yeah, that's the one. And now take your weight onto your thigh and then shift your weight forward so the knee comes forwards of the toes. Now, if your calves are tight, you might notice that your heel wants to lift off, but really focus on anchoring it back, only going to the point where you can go without your heel lifting. And then if it feels good to do so, rock forwards more, come back, rock forwards more. So you really mobilize the area, but you take care when you do it. You don't move too quickly or too aggressively. And then circle the knee round. Let's do 3 in each direction. Then as you next inhale, come into a single-legged forward fold. So your left foot is just a little bit behind you, but it's on the floor. Draw the belly in. And then cross your left ankle behind the right ankle. And come a little bit deeper into that fold. You may want to bend your knees more here. Or if that's a bit restrictive, take the foot back behind so it's directly behind the heel of the other foot. Draw the belly in. Just check your hips haven't twisted. Unhook the left leg, step back to lunge. Back leg long and straight, chest long and lifted. Hands to the ground, step back to plank and lower, making sure you pull your elbows back, shoulders forwards, hover just above the floor if you can. Then push into the ground, pulling the upper back down. Downward dog. Left leg rises on the inhale, 3-legged dog. Again, just check your hips are square. So that means the heel of the lifted leg, just turn that outwards a bit and the toes slightly in, pull the belly in. Step the foot between the hands, lunge. Get that nice space. See if you can get that feeling that the front leg is sliding further forward, the back thigh is sliding further back. Slide the right knee in so it lands next to the left toes. And then again, shift your weight over. Now what you might notice as well is if you keep your knee in line with the foot, notice what the feeling is there. If you take the knee inside the foot, notice what you feel there. And if you take the knee outside the foot, notice what you feel there. And then if there's a point where your calf is particularly tight, then that's the bit that you should focus on for a little bit longer. And then have a gentle rock forwards and back. Pressing down through the back edge of the heel. Circle with the thigh 3 times in each direction. Remember to still keep your weight over the leg. And then we lift hips up, standing forward fold. Keep your left leg in front and the right foot steps behind, crossing the ankle behind the other ankle. Noticing how that changes the sensation through the hamstrings. Trying to let the breathing be constant and fluid. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. And then shift the weight more into that left foot again. Slide the left leg back into, right leg back into lunge. Chest long, create that space through the hips. Plank, step back. Screw the hands into the floor, make yourself feel solid. Slowly lower, keep hips and shoulders together. Hover just above the ground. Then push into the floor, pulling yourself through the arms more. Downward dog. Ah, that's nice, isn't it? Take your left foot, hook it just behind your right foot. And then just push the weight back a little bit more. Inhale, come to plank. Keeping that foot where it is. Exhale, push back. See if you can edge the heel down. It doesn't have to touch the floor. Inhale, come forwards, plank. Exhale, hips up, push the heel down. Just find that length in your calf. One more. And gently swap sides. Take the right ankle behind the left calf. Pull the belly in, try and lift the hips up as high as you can. And that gets that feeling that you're tipping over a little bit more. Come forwards into plank. And then lift back up, coming a little bit further back with the pelvis, but without moving the hands. Come forwards. And back. See if you can get a little bit closer to the ground each time. Again, you don't have to be getting to the ground. One more time, come forwards into plank. And back into your deepest calf stretch. Unhook the leg on the inhale, come forwards, plank, exhale. Lower yourself. Inhale, upward dog, exhale, downward dog. Now you're going to need your block or your book. I'll do this from the side so you can see. So from a plank position, you're going to take your feet onto your block or your book and come back into downward dog. And then Make sure your foot's in the centre so you don't fall off. Then you're going to push your heel down to the ground a little bit deeper. If you need to, you can walk your hands in a little bit closer. So you don't, keep a slight bend into your knee. It doesn't have to be locked out. But you just want to get that feeling that you're hanging off the edge of the block. I put my other foot just on top of my of the foot that's being, the ankle that's being stretched. Yeah, just to help stabilise that, the ball of that foot and stop it from falling. And swap the legs. Maybe you can feel that travelling all the way down the back of the leg into the calf. If you find that your hamstrings restricting your movement a little bit more, bend your knee of the leg that you're stretching. And in fact, if you want to be really technical about it, you've got two calf muscles. One of them, the gastrocnemius, attaches behind the knee and behind the ankle, and then you've got the soleus, which attaches just to the ankle and into a bit of fascia onto which then attaches behind your knee. But so if you can work out if it's your gastrocnemius or your soleus. So if you're so if we're in the stretch where we're hanging off the edge of something, that's tight, that's your gastrocnemius. If you bend your knee a little bit and do the same thing, and that's tighter, that's your soleus, that's tighter. So there you go. Come forwards into plank. Bend the elbows, lower yourself down towards the floor. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhale, back to downward dog. Right leg lifts on the inhale, three-legged dog. Roll the inner thigh in of the lifted leg, roll the inner thigh out of the standing leg. Step the foot between the hands as you inhale into lunge. As you exhale, press the hips down a little bit deeper. Slide the back leg in so the knee comes down to the level of the toes. As you inhale, as you exhale, press your way over. Take one more breath in, one more breath out. Then stand, take your left ankle behind the right ankle, forward fold. Then we're going to lift the left leg up towards the ceiling, but stay in the fold. So we're in a standing split. If this doesn't feel good for you today, step your left foot back so you come into pyramid pose. So those are your choices. Pyramid with the back foot grounded, or standing split with the leg up into the air. Now you can bend this knee if, again, that works better for how it feels for you. Pull the belly in. If you want a little extra challenge, try and take hold of the back of your leg with one or both hands. Whoop, just spread the weight across the whole of the foot. Gently land a long step back into lunge. Lounging lizard. Turn your feet to the right side, so that's both feet, including the back one, so you come onto the outer edge. Drop your hip down to the floor. If you'd rather stay in lunge, that's fine as well. Now count 5 really deep breaths here. Now as you come out of this, here's something for you to try. Left hand, ground it to the floor. So feel free to put a block underneath that if you need to. We're going to lift the hips up off the floor. Reaching right arm up to the ceiling. So it turns into a side plank, but with this foot, the right foot, in exactly the same place that it was. And then push with the outer, well, with the edges of the feet that are touching the floor, push down through those bits, lift the side of the waist. Hand to the floor, step back to plank and lower. Inhaling, upward dog, exhaling, back into downward dog. Left leg lifts on the inhale, three-legged dog. Just spend a moment there on the exhale, keep the belly drawn in. If it helps, flex the foot so you can reach out of the heel. Keep pushing your right heel towards the floor. Again, it doesn't have to touch. Step the foot between the hands to lunge. Exhaling, stretch the back leg away to open the hip more. Slide the right knee in so it lands next to the left toe. Weight goes over the thigh. Stay here for one more breath in, one more breath out. Just notice if when you've done that, your ankle's collapsed. Try and lift the ankle so it's central. And then lean the way over. Awesome. Standing forward fold with your right leg crossing behind the left leg. Shifting the weight over into the center of the left foot. So you can lift the back of the leg a little bit higher. Standing split or pyramid. I'll show you pyramid first again. So you just take a short step back, keeping the tailbone up so we gain as much tilt and length over the left leg. Or standing split, keeping the weight pressing down through the ball of the foot, heel of the foot of the left leg. Stretching the right leg up high. If you want the challenge, try taking hold of the back of your calf. Cool. Some days it's there, some days it's not. Take a long step back into lunge. Lengthen the whole of your torso. Lounging lizard to the left side. Ground the right hand first. Turn onto the edges of both feet. Then sit the hip down to the floor. Maybe adjust your hand if you need to. Just make sure you're not sinking into the shoulder. You're pushing away from the floor. 5 deep breaths to open out the side of the hips. Side plank from here. Push the hand into the floor, lift the hips up, straighten the back leg. Stack the shoulders over one another. And just feel that power here. Bring the hand to the floor, turn into lunge, step back into plank and lower down. Inhaling. Exhale into child's pose. And then just have a little wriggle around the hips.
Right, come up into seated position, but on your shins. So you're going to bring your legs together. You're going to sit your bum onto your heels and then take your hands behind the back. So first we'll just take a squeeze of the bum, push the hip open, and then lower back down. So bum to heels. So it's not back bend, it's a deep stretch through the quads. Hips down and lift again, squeezing the bum, trying to slide the kneecap down to the floor. And again, down and back up again. Now you can stay with this stretch if you wish, or we're going to stretch out the front of the ankles and the shins. So this might be in itself be enough for your shins, depending on how tight they are. But if you can, rock your weight back until your shins start to lift off the floor. And then hands just rest onto the thighs, or if you need a little bit more stability, you can place them onto the ground. Just keep the inner thighs drawing together. If it's a little bit too painful, then just come out of it and go back into that first stretch, opening out the hips instead. I really like this one. It feels really comfortable. And then take 5 more breaths here. And then at the end of those 5 breaths, come back down, place your hands on the floor, shake your legs out, shake your hips out. You may want to tuck the toes here, and just get point and flex, point and flex. And then tuck the toes, everyone, spreading the weight across the ball of the foot. Sit back onto your feet, and then just notice what your heels have done. So mine have got a tendency here, when I go back, to separate. So make sure that they stay in the same position, because then that's going to give you a really nice deep stretch through the sole of the foot as well. So whilst we're here, take your right arm under the left arm, eagle arms, pressing the forearms together. If that feels unachievable, come here instead and just hook the hand behind or just above the elbow and slide the shoulder across, because then we get that same space in the deltoid. How are your feet? Have your heels started to slide wide yet? Oh, if you need to come up at any point, that's okay. If you can get really intense. Gently unravel, come up off of the feet for a moment, relax the feet, bring the tops of the feet down, and then we're going to go again. So tuck the toes. This time right is over the left. On eagle arms, sit the hips back. Drop the shoulders down. If it feels really nice, you can tuck the chin and roll the upper part of your spine as well. Just make sure your heels don't slide outwards or too close together. Give one more breath in. One more breath out. And then slowly unravel, shake the arms out, bring the hips away from the feet. Untuck the toes. A little dance around, make them feel good, a little shake. And then you're going to lay down onto your front. What way shall I go? And then lay onto your right side, bringing the hips over one another. We're going to take the bottom leg, find the ankle of the foot for the quad stretch, squeezing the bum, just open out the front of the hips. If you don't quite reach your ankle, then you don't worry about it. You can always use something like a strap or something to wrap around your foot, or don't worry about it at all. It just gives you a little extra stretch in your quads there. We're going to slide the left leg forwards. Now here, with this leg, you can bend the knee at any point as well. Keep the leg straight. We're going to roll the shoulders onto the ground. And then take the right hand and hold the leg somewhere. So if it feels like the foot's really far away, bend the knee and just place the hand on top of the thigh and guide it down. Or you can take hold of the toes or the shin with the legs straight. Now here, if you can, try and bring the back shoulder to the floor. If it doesn't quite get there, you can fill the space or just let it melt towards the floor. So this is cat's tail. Amazing for opening up the entire body. And here, maybe just allow your eyes to close. Let it feel completely blissful in the space that you are right now. Try not to fidget. Just find surrender. If it feels good, turn your head as if you're looking over the left shoulder. Notice what's already happened in this time. Notice the ease. 5 more breaths here. At the end of those 5 breaths, slowly make your way out of the pose. So first, drawing the left leg back in, letting go of the right foot. Hugging the knees into the chest in the middle. Before you change sides. So this time you're going to roll onto your left side. Take hold of the bottom leg, so that's the left leg. Squeeze the bum, open up the space. Maybe pull the left thigh back a little bit more. Then reach the right foot over to the left side of the leg. Bring the shoulders down to the floor. Adjust your position as you need to make this feel good. You might want to bend the right leg. You might want to not bother holding on. Or maybe just resting the left hand on top of the right leg anywhere. So you don't have to hold on to any kind of muscular contraction. Then this time the eye gaze looks over the right shoulder, or you can keep looking upwards, or just have your eyes closed, wherever feels amazing. Especially if you're out in the sunshine. Notice how the side feels. It's very rare that both sides will feel exactly the same. So just take this moment to understand a little bit more about yourself and how your body functions. take 5 more breaths here. At the end of those 5 breaths, gently unravel. Bringing your hips back to the center, hugging the knees into the chest. Now I'll give you a choice. You can stay here with knees to chest, or even happy baby pose. Or we're going to find plow. So you're going to lift the hips up and over, toes go overhead towards the ground. And then you can support your hips here with your hands. You can have your hands onto the ground, whatever works. But here, if you're in plow, your aim is to keep your belly in, to lift your hips up towards the ceiling, and that's going to accentuate the length along the back of the spine. Then, if it feels good, you can rotate the hips, sliding the feet to the corners of the mat overhead, and just loosening off the lower back a little bit more. Or just stay where you are. Allowing the breath to be long, because often this can feel quite constrictive in your chest, in your lung space. So take the time to breathe a little bit slower, to not panic. And just enjoy the sensations. Whenever you're ready, roll yourself back down. Everyone bring the legs towards the ground. Then we're going to take the hands underneath the butt cheeks with the palms down. Squeeze your elbows into your sides. Draw the shoulder blades together. And then lift the eye gaze overhead, or over where your head was. So you're resting gently onto the crown of the head, but there's very light pressure there. You're not trying to do a headstand. You could easily hold this position without your head actually on the floor. Just pressing down through the forearms, spreading the chest and the rib cage wide. Being mindful of your lower back, that you don't compress your spine too much. And feel that length in your chin, opening out. Gently lower back down. Remove your hands from underneath your bum. And then just allow your arms and legs to roll out to the sides. Or settle into any other position that works for you. But just take a moment just to feel every sensation through the body. Maybe close your eyes, and if you're outside, just feel the sun. How amazing is that on your skin right now? Close your eyes and just let your eyes soften. Behind your closed eyes, you see
a four-sided shape. And it's not even. As you inhale across one edge, count for 4. When you get to the corner, it's a short edge. You breathe, you hold your breath for 2. Then you find a long edge and you breathe out for 6. A short edge, hold the breath for 2. And then you're back to where you began. Breathing in for 4. Hold the breath for 2. Now this long edge, you breathe out for 6. It's slightly bowed. You get the corner, you hold the breath for 2. At the top, breathe in for 4. Hold the breath for 2. Breathe out for 6. Hold the breath for 2. Inhale for 4. Hold for 2. Breathe out 6. Hold for 2. Now continue for another 2 rounds. And then allow your breath to flow back to its natural rhythm. Bring some gentle movements back into the body. And then in your own time, in your own way, bring yourself back up to seated. All right, I'm unmuting you all. Hey, how is everyone feeling?
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Going for
you. That was challenging.
Good. How are your calves feeling, Steph?
Yeah.
Much better, thanks.